Okay, so this video is all about color mixing. People in the room are gonna have tempera paint like this. People at home are going to have your watercolors, and either will work. I'll kind of give you tips for both. So the colors that I want you to use for this are just red, yellow, and blue, and then also white and black. So people, if you're working at home, limit yourself to these 5 colors. If you don't, if you kind of, I guess I'll call it cheating, if you cheat and use other colors, you won't be as good at color mixing. And the reason why I'm giving you these colors, red, yellow, and blue are the primary colors. So if you have those, you can make any other color. And then having black and white, you can tint colors with white, and you can shade colors with black. I also have paper towel, and I've got water with my brushes. Very important to have all this so you can clean up in between. So let me grab a brush here. When you're color mixing, you always want to start with what I call the weaker color. So if I'm gonna mix red and yellow, I'm gonna mix red on my paper, but you can mix, in a paint palette or something. So if I'm gonna mix red and yellow, yellow is weaker. So I'm gonna start with yellow. And then in between colors, dab your brush on the bottom of the water and then pull it on the paper towel. Pull it, pull it, pull it. You don't wanna push because you'll wreck your bristles. And then I'm gonna get red, and I'm gonna just get a little bit of red and mix them together. And I get an orange. The reason why you start with the weaker color, if I would start with red, and this has probably happened to you, if I start with red and then I add yellow, should clean my brush better, you do. See how it's still red? And then I can add more yellow and it's still red, and I add more yellow and it's still red, and more and more and more, and pretty soon you end up with a ton of paint and it's still not orange. Has that happened to anybody? That happens to me all the time, and it's because you started with the stronger color. Now, let's say I'm gonna mix yellow and blue. I wanna start with the weaker color, so I'm gonna start with yellow, because blue is stronger. So I'm gonna put some yellow, dab my brush on the bottom of the water, pull it on the paper towel so I don't wreck those bristles, and then I'll add some blue to the yellow and make green. Now, when you all are doing color mixing, I'm not gonna tell you what colors to make, but you need to make 50 colors. Now, some people are like, whoa, Mrs. Wissy, that's a lot. I used to have my students do 100 colors, and they did it no problem. It's just that it took several days, and we wanna work on other stuff too. But let me show you. If you make a green and then add some white to the green, that's a tint of the green. And then if I add even more white, that's another tint. And you can do this all on a paint palette too. And even more white is another tint. And then I could take that same green and shade it, right? Now black's pretty powerful, so I'd only take a little bit at first. See, yeah, that was even just a speck of black and it got it really dark. But I can shade and tint that green, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 different colors or hues, just tinting and shading. So I can do the same thing with my orange over here. Just get a little bit of white, tint it, a little more white, tint it, more white, tint it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I could shade the orange too and get more, because with the tints and the shades, I can tint my red over here. So I've got all these different tints of red. I can shade my red. Let's get a little black. Take it easy on the black at first. And my page is getting pretty messy. If you want, yours can be way more organized. You can make like rows of color blobs in order so that you can count them. You can do it however you want. But We want to just use the primary colors, black and white. Try to mix 50 with tints and shades, tints with the white, shades with the black. Make sure you clean off your brush in between. If you don't clean off your brush in between, dab, 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 and pull it on the paper towel, you will just kind of end up with mud because all your colors will mix and they'll get really muddy. And then one last tip, people at home that are using watercolors, remember to limit yourself to the primaries. I like to mix right in the lid. So I get colors wet. Like I'll get my blue wet and put some over here. And then I clean my brush off. And then I'll get yellow or whatever I'm working with and put it over here and mix them together right on the lid and then put them on my paper. So that's one way to do it. You can also mix them right on the paper if you want, but still make sure you clean your brush in between. If you get a watercolor really dirty, like if the yellow is looking like brown, you can just put some water in it and dab it with your paper towel, and it should get it pretty clean where it's looking back to yellow again.